Alright, so in my last video I was trying to learn how to land, and I was trying to figure out which direction the wind was coming from so that I could figure out which direction to try to land. I came home and I got the idea to try to make myself a windsock, a portable windsock that I could take out to the field with me set up, and then when I was done I could take it back down and bring it home. So I started by going to Goodwill, where I found this shirt. It's a stretchy lycra type material. I wanted something on the lighter side since I'm not going to really be using it in high wind. I wanted something that'll be easier to pick up the wind. So the first thing I did was cut one seam open. And then I cut the second seam open. Which frees the back from the shirt, which is allowing me to use the back panel for the windsock. I was going to use the whole shirt from top to bottom to make the sock, since there's already a collar and a lining on the bottom which would reinforce the front and the back of the sock. But the angle was too steep. It would have looked more like a triangle than an actual windsock. So I decided to cut it short right at the point where it was perpendicular, and making a nice 90-degree angle. Next, I use a ruler to mark straight lines and cut off this excess material. I then use a square to mark a straight line across the bottom. Next, I use pins to pin the long seam together. At this point, I forgot about the camera, and I actually started working in my lap, which was out of view of the camera, so the rest of the footage was no good. But basically, I just cut off that bottom edge perpendicular to the front edge, and then I folded it over once, maybe twice, and I pinned it together to get it ready to sew. So after I get everything cut and pinned, I can now begin sewing. So I get out my sewing machine, and the first thing I sew is the back edge collar of the sock. Once I get that sewn, I now move to the long main edge of the sock, which will be the bottom of the sock. After I've completed the sewing of the long edge, I want to reinforce it, so I fold the whole seam over, pin it, and sew it again. So this is the final product. It's not perfect, but it's going to work for me. This is the seam, obviously, that I sewed. This is the back collar, which I did sew myself. Like I said, I folded it over twice, and then I sewed it down. I sewed the seam, or the collar outwards, so that way when the wind blows through it, it will blow to the inside. It won't have anything to catch on and tear apart. And then this obviously is the front, or this was the collar of the shirt, which I left to be the front of the sock. There's a couple holes right in here, right here, so that way I will be able to slip my frame around through it. to make the windsock. This was an old wire hanger, which I took a hammer and anvil to and straightened it out the best I could. And then I proceeded to make the circle. I just kept bending it a little at a time until I got to the right diameter that I want. And then this will be the to go inside the holder. So now my plan is to just try to take this and put it inside the hole of the lining collar. See if this works. And I'm just gonna have to try to work it out a little bit. Now let's try a wind test. Okay, so here's the sock on the frame inside the holder. I have it inside this PVC pipe. It rotates very easily. There's nothing in there. It's just an empty pipe, which I kind of beveled out a little bit. And I taped it to this long utility pole, which I can extend, twist and extend up and down. And I have a spike I can put on the end to try to stick it into the ground, or I can maybe take some zip ties with me and zip tie it to a fence or something somewhere. Okay, so this is just a regular PVC pipe. This was on it when I found it. I had to take it off. This is a clip for a flag for your car. This clip fits on your window, right? And then your flag flies off of here. And so obviously I just zip tied and duct taped it to this flag clip, and then I put some styrofoam. This styrofoam, I shaved it out and made it just big enough to make a plug, so that will hold on to the utility pole and cushion it a little bit on the bottom. And then obviously the utility pole will go in here, and then I will bungee the whole thing to the rack on my car. So let's see how it works. Okay, there's the flag holder connected to my window, and I have the bungee cord holding it so it doesn't bend or move too far away on the pole. And of course there's the windsock. There's no wind right now, plus I'm next to the house, so I don't know how well it's going to work. So we'll see. I'm going to take it out in the field and try it out. Alright, so I wanted to show you this one last thing before I went out to the field. If you notice, I did have these little tires. These were what I was using on the last one. I said on if you saw my last video, I said I was going to start small and I'd go bigger if I had to. They actually worked fine when I was landing. Everything worked great. You saw the landings. Everything was cool. But I did notice when I was editing the video, when I was trying to take off, the wheels kind of dug into the dirt and then pitch. Then you saw the plane pitch. So I think I put these on so it will hopefully help it take off. It'll hopefully help it float on the top of the dirt, and therefore helping me take off a little easier. It was just basically I took some of this and I cut it off, and then I shaved it down until it was so big, and then I glued it, hot glue, to glue the tires, this onto the tires. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully this will help me take off a little easier. Alright, so out here in the field, and just have it bungee corded to the post. And it's a little bit, the wind's not blowing too hard right now, but you can see it is catching the wind. Probably could even put it up a little higher. That's cool for now, just to test. Let me know which way the wind's going. And I can unbungee it and take it home when I'm done. Okay, let's see what happens. Into the wind, huh? Ugh. That was a pretty good crash, but it's still running. Looks like it's still okay. Alright, let's see if we can take off. Let's see if we can take off. Woohoo! My first takeoff ever. Woohoo! It worked. Two takeoffs. Ooh, that wind is bouncing it around. You can't really see it in the windsock, but it is bouncing. I think I have to adjust the I think it's too far away. Man, it bounces a hell of a lot. See if we can take off one more time. Oh, I bent up that wheel pretty good, huh? Oh, my glue came off. Everything's all bent up here. Oopty, that was a tough one. Battery's already beeping at me. Okay, that's it. All right, that's it for one day. It worked. I I got proof of concept. I just got to glue this on better. My first takeoffs ever. My first takeoffs ever. Sorry, I'm kind of excited about it. Alright, so you saw me put it up. It works. I didn't put it on my window. I'm going to save that for some time when I don't have a post or someplace to pin it up. Then I will do that to my car. So, but it does work. Showed me which way the wind was going. Unfortunately, the wind was running this way, and you see the trees behind me. That's what I crashed into last time. So I was running this way on my landings and stuff, but it still worked. You saw me take off and land, so my first takeoff. I'm stoked on that. So anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.